be starting us off with our divorce and romantic relationships presentation. Besides myself, the other members of this group are Gabrielle Diaz, Natalie Estevez, Madeline Garcia, Roberto Garcia, and Anastasia Mears. So just to give a brief overview as to what will be the content of this presentation, so what this presentation will consist of and cover more in depth, we will be discussing divorce, its rates and its causes. That will be led by myself, Sofia Trincado. We will also be discussing romantic relationships, what constitutes as a romantic relationship, and that will be led by Natalie Estevez. We'll also go into the large demographic of divorces, which is our baby boomers. So what exactly is a baby boomer? Why are they the largest percentage to be divorced? That will be discussed by Anastasia Mears. We will also be discussing positive psychology and influences on relationships. So how we can implement positive psychology in marriage couples and what intervention we would like to be using to counsel these marriages. That will be led by Roberto Garcia. We will go into the possible benefits of divorce, so how we can look at divorce as a positive thing for these couples, and that will be led by Gabrielle Diaz. And lastly, we will finish off with an interactive activity, which will be led by Madeline Garcia to quiz you on your knowledge that was covered in this presentation. Our table of contents is just an organized and ordered view of our content of this presentation slide. So this is just going to go into detail as to what order we will be proceeding this presentation, as well as a brief summary as to what each topic will discuss. We will begin with our divorce rates and its causes, which will be followed by our romantic and relationship section, which will then be followed by our baby boomers topic, then by our positive psychology and influences on relationship section, which will then be closely followed by our possible benefits of divorce. And lastly, we will end with an interactive activity. So just to reintroduce myself, my name is Sofia Trincado, and I will begin with divorce rates and causes, summary and statistics. This section I will be discussing what divorce is, what it entails, what are the rates of divorces, and what are usually the causes that lead to these divorces. So to begin, we're going to be doing just a brief definition of divorce. So divorce is the legal separation of a married couple. So again, just to reiterate, divorce can only happen if the married couple is legally married. So there's a marriage certificate that states that they are married, and it is by law. If they are living together or just dating for a really long time and have a family and decide to separate, that is not considered a divorce, again, unless they are married legally. A question that may commonly arise is, how common is divorce? Does divorce happen often? Is it just a small percentage of those being divorced? We all know people that are divorced. I grew up knowing my friends, parents who are divorced, family members who are divorced. And just to put into perspective, around 50% of marriages end in divorce. So that's half of marriages. So if you are in a room with 10 married people, you can guesstimate that about 5 of those married couples are divorced. Because again, it's half of marriages that end in divorce. There are many reasons as to why a married couple can decide to terminate their relationship legally, but the two main causes that we are going to be discussing are dissatisfaction and conflict. So dissatisfaction can just mean that one or both partners are just no longer satisfied in the relationship. They start to feel that disconnect, they don't feel the chemistry that they once did, the intimacy is dwindling, or there's no intimacy whatsoever. This can be physical or mental intimacy, or they just simply fall out of love and they no longer want to be with their partner. Another cause of divorce, or the other main cause of divorce, is conflict. So conflict in relationships can just be arguments, disagreements, verbal altercations, your partner just not being faithful and no longer committing to the marriage, relationships and a lot of stress. And then just issues in communication. The communication is no longer there, and it's just difficult